Alireza Firouzja vs Gukesh in second half of Norway Chess 2026. The game teaches us how the activity of pieces rule out the pawn deficiency and also that not all rook and games are drawn. So the game starts with dragons in defense and we reach this position where usually bishop g5 is a move as well, but with bishop f4 you want to pressurize c7 and after normal development moves we see that by trading off, black has closed the OpenSea file and now queen b3 comes. Now if you go h4, there is bishop f, bishop e5 always a good idea as well. And you can take up here, and you can even take up here because this is hanging. Like once you move the knight away, you can take like this. So that's why h4 does not do much. Black castles, and after queen takes b7, we have c6. And just like that, the world champion gave away a pawn because of the activity of the pieces. Like he is down a pawn, but he just trades of the queen, and we have some more moves down the line. So the maneuver of knight from b2 to b3 was to close this open b file because Mukesh will surely come on b file, and then we see the idea of bishop b1 was to trade of these bishops and some normal moves happen on the game, and we have c4. Now it's always interesting how you play like this. Like if your opponent has made a pawn break, then you also can try to do the same, because if you do nothing, like suppose king g6, then there is a chance of maybe c5, or if he takes and just double up, then d5 weakness stays like this. So d5 will be a weakness, a3 will become a weakness. So that's why Mukesh just goes c5, striking in the center himself, and trade. See, we are down a cone, like Mukesh is down a cone, but he is trading off many pieces because of the activity of his pieces to compensate for everything. Now it will be like a huge mistake to take on b3, because after takes you cannot go like this because the rook goes like this. So this tactic does not work. So we have king f6, king e7, and both sides are centralizing their king. Now rook takes f2 is the threat. That's why we have knight c5 takes takes, and white is currently up a pawn, and we are getting into the endgames. Now with a pawn, the goal is ideally to move it down the board, and let's see how yours defends that. Checks, and then he goes king c6. So now the king will be maybe controlling this pawn, and this rook is creating like a barrier, and even though he will be defending these goals. And then we have this rook after rook e3. Both sides are waiting long time, so we will see some mistakes. And around here, we reach a point that is very important. Alireza just goes a5, Gukesh goes king b2, and king a4, king b3, and f4, which is a brilliant move because what it does is it asks a very crucial question like, if you take, then I will take up here. That's a queen. So what can you do? Like after f4, what else can you try? Maybe move the rook away. But then these pawn will be under attack as well, and a5 a6 is still coming. So after rook moves, we have this, and now the rook comes up like this, and these three pawns are going to be uh eaten by white shortly. So we see jacks and then take up a. We have three triple pawns, but these triple pawns doesn't matter much because in any endgame, like these pawns provide the rook the square to cut off the king. Like if this pawn was not here, then this rook f5 move was impossible. But now the king is firmly controlled. But for now g6, g7 will easily come. So it was around this point that Gukesh designed. So what does this game teaches us that even if you are down pawn, you can go for trades and just play actively, and by striking in the center you will get uh, enough activity to maybe hold. And the other thing that it teaches us is that the double pawns, whenever you have them, they provide very good chances as well. Like this time the d4 pawn protects the rook. That's why this rook is cutting off this king. Suppose the pawn wasn't hit, then the rook will not be defended, so then the king has more chances to come and defend. So please subscribe if you want to keep on watching these mini tournaments recap.